Node 564560 connected to Node 564562. Node 360975 connected to Node 564560.
Good evening. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net on the '08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. The Western Washington Amateur Television Society is a group of amateur radio enthusiasts that get together with digital amateur television in the DVB-T format. We transmit on 70 centimeters to a crossband repeater at Cougar Mountain, and it spits out images at 1.2 gigahertz. To find out more about our group, please Google WW7ATS. That's Google WW7ATS. That will take you to the internet where our homepage lies. There you'll find a link to YouTube where we stream our nets held Wednesdays and Saturdays between 8 and 9. Also on that site is the exact frequencies we transmit on receive for our nets. Also, we have a sister 2-meter station, WW7ATS, which is 147.08 with a tone of 103.5, which we simulcast during our nets. So with that, I'll pause in case anybody has emergency traffic or needs to make a contact before our net gets fully underway. This is Dave, KD7YM. Welcome back to the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. So far checked in by video link is Bob, K9PQ, Richard, K7ITX, Jim, N7QO, James, WU7N, Carlos, AD7NP, and myself, Dave, KD7ZYM. Is anybody else wishing to check in? Hearing none, well, we'll get our net starting with Bob, K9PQ in Oak Harbor.
Okay, thanks, Dave. I see my call sign and there's my video. And I'm using OBS tonight, so I need to gonna have to mute the video. So yeah, some news here today. I had just casually mentioned to one of the board members about wanting to put up a ham radio antenna, and she brought it up to the board. And so they reached out to me and asked me for what my plan was, which I gave them, and they're looking favorably on it right now. It's not a done deal, but it looks really good. And there's another ham here, and he happens to be. I don't think he's on the board currently, but he has been doing governance for the board. So that's something that is. I don't think it used to be such a big deal, but the state, Washington State, and maybe many states, I'm not sure, have really almost overhauled. You would say they've added a whole lot to what condo associations are responsible for and what can be done, what can't be done. So a lot of the decisions that we make, we have to think about. Obviously. Now what I've my screen just went black. I'm not sure if that is my timeout time. There we go. It's back. Nope, went black again. I'm gonna send it back. We'll see if it works better next time. Back to net control. K9PQ.
K9PQ, your video and audio was fine. Anyway, when it hit the timeout sign, it went blank, and then once the timeout came out again, reunited you, you had an image back again. Then it blanked one more time, and then you were back full time and sounding good. Well, anyway, congratulations on getting that 100-foot tower installed. So let's go on to Richard, K7ITX.
Okay, well, yeah, me too. I want to congratulate you, Bob, on a job well done. I'm pretty excited about your as you work through that process, and then I got my fingers crossed for Ron, and hopefully he's going to be able to pull something off. In the meantime, my big news is, I surprised my wife when she said that I ought to start doing crossword puzzles and things like that to keep me busy. And I one-upped her by telling her that I've applied for a job to do what I used to do, but it's on a very minimal part-time basis. In fact, I talked to an employee at one of the construction companies, and I told him, I hear you guys are really busy. What if I were your administrative assistant? Because it used to be reverse order. He used to be my assistant, and but we really got along good, and I really enjoyed the satisfaction of getting jobs done on time and good looking and things like that. So I've been feeling pretty good lately, so I thought, well, what the heck, and a little bit of extra spending money wouldn't hurt either. Inflation has taken quite a bite out of some of the things I thought about doing. Not the end of the world, but there's a lot of things in my business that I can do that are a piece of cake. And if I can cherry pick what I have to do, well, then why not? Heck, like I said, the YL said you need to start working on crossword puzzles. Well, I'll do better than that. So that's my big news. All right, with that, K7ITX back to net control.
K7ITX, thanks with that. Let's see if Jim's aboard. N7QO in Covington.
N7QO. Thank you, Dave. Good evening, everyone. Well, Bob, it's not your imagination. You did drop out there very briefly, twice, like Dave said. Otherwise, 100% copy. Don't know exactly what happened there in those momentary interruptions, but otherwise, good picture, good audio from you. I think that's excellent news. They have not said no. I think that's good. I think there's another ham there. I think that's good. And now that you mention it, I do remember reading somewhere I do not recall if it was in QST or exactly where it was, but a number of states seem to have made allowances for emergency services communication. I don't know if it has anything to do with the fact that people's landlines have been largely disconnected, or the intermittent actions of cell phone service, or that they're too busy for everyone to use the cell phone when they need to. But I do recall reading somewhere about more states being more flexible regarding amateur radio antennas. So I think that's very promising for you. Now you just need to come up with a tentative plan to present to them when they ask for it. Good luck with that. And Dick, good to hear you in there. You sound good. Applied for a part-time job. Wow. Thanks for offering to help them. I certainly don't have the energy to do that anymore. I'm glad that you do. Maybe I should get some body parts replaced. Maybe that will help me out a little bit. But good to hear you in there. And back to you, Dave, N7QO.
N7QO, thanks with that. Let's see if we got James, WU7N in Northeast Bellevue.
7 November in Northeast Bellevue. WU7N in Northeast Bellevue. Well, at least here, my voice coming over 2 meters. Once again, I marvel at Carlos's ability to create magical software. And I do see my face pop up right now. Well, let's see, Bob. It sounds like you are making progress. Just to be able to put up a spike antenna, and maybe if there's trees around, single, tell them it's a single little black wire that goes up into the trees and nobody will ever see. You've got an HF antenna that can do a lot. May 9th, 3 days from now, is supposed to be the Mars amateur crossband test. I'll have to look at the exact times. I haven't converted UTC to Pacific time yet to know when they are. But I was going to try and give that a shot, just to see who could hear me on HF with the time of the year and the time of the sunspot cycle. Still not bad. And you certainly have lots of opportunities with lots of Mars stations all over the place. Let's see. Okay, I'm hearing the same echo I heard on my own signal on James. Turn it up and see what I'm hearing. Testing 1 2 3 4. 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 I'll keep testing. Testing 1 2 3 4. Testing 1 2 3 4. Now I'm totally locked.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and put it 2 meters here. I don't know what's going on, but I guess I completely locked up. So this is WU7 in Northeast Bellevue. Anyway, Dick, I think you said you had a part-time job. You are an inspiration to me. I probably should do that too. In 6 days, it'll be exactly 2 months since my major medical event, which sounds pretty minor compared to yours. So I should be able to do that too. Anyway, what else is happening? News you can use. OOMA.com is a home phone service that after a one-time charge, it doesn't cost you anything. I kind of wonder how they're making money, but I just briefly looked at their website, and it looks like they do offer a paid-for service with more goodies and whistles and bells. But it's voice over IP in a box, $80 for the hub, and $40 they're charging, which is a big fee, to port your old phone number over to the voice over IP box. I'm not sure what I personally would gain from that, since the 2 cables coming into my house, one belongs to Comcast and I think is damaged, and then the CenturyLink twisted pair is slowly turning to copper oxide. If it's dry outside, it works. and I'm trying to use the same T-Mobile box I believe Bob tried out. Bob, I'd be interested in a report from you on how that T-Mobile box worked, or if you gave up on it. Mine works, except when it doesn't. It's a typical kind of wireless connection, much like a cell phone. I mean, it works great until it doesn't. Okay, well, I just heard myself, after I let off on the push-to-talk there, I heard myself say works great until it doesn't. So there's 2 or 3 seconds of echo back in the buffer. So with that, let me turn it back to Dave. This is Whiskey Uniform 7 November in Northeast Bellevue, coming in direct on 2 meters. Dave, go ahead and take it away.
WU7N, thanks with that. And for a quick ID, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. Not experiencing any echoing on 2 meters at my location in Lake City at this point. So anyway, everything's been pretty clear on all of the audio transmissions on the net this evening so far. So let's go to Carlos, AD7NP in Clyde Hill.
Okay, let's see if we keep the clean audio transmissions. I might do a little more audio, which must be one of these 100 buttons that I have here. Okay, very good. And I got my camera back that does autofocus, which I also like very much. Versus the other one. So good evening, this is 87NP. And Jim, you might remember this was the camera that you had recommended that I tried a different cable, which I did. In fact, this is what I call the Jim cable that I ordered. Unfortunately, it wasn't a cable issue. It was, I had to send it to the camera manufacturer, and they replaced the motherboard on the camera. So that seemed to be a little more serious. I don't know what happened to my phone now. So news that you can use is very good. Just a couple of reports in terms of notes. Bob, these days, kind of writing any report of asking, you know what it is. You go to your favorite AI agent and just tell them what to tell the board, and tell them that friends are ready to come and assemble the antenna, and they are very responsible, and I'm sure they will be convinced. Let me know what you're going for. If it's a vertical HF antenna, I have a surplus, so just let me know. On Richard, I like this approach of going for puzzles. I think I'll think about some software puzzles to build into the app, you know, so that you'll be able to do puzzles and be on here on the Watts TV at the same time. And Jim, good copy. Hopefully the audio, at least on the 2 meters, I think it seems to be at a good volume. I don't know about the TV repeater, because it might be a little too much. I wanted to show something that I was able to build this week. Very proud of myself. So I started, let's see if we get the right images on the right screens. It's always a challenge. Okay, let me switch. So this is my, oops, let's do it again. This is the CNC mill yesterday starting to cut my solar cooker brackets. It started from that flat bar, and it spent all night. Well, I think it spent all night, at least I was sleeping. And then in the morning, I just went there to collect my brackets, which are kind of a C-channel bracket that were just cut. Oh, I have to block the autofocus into my face. These were the 6 C brackets that I produced, and now I just need a spacer. So good progress on my fabrication towards the the solar cooker project. My deadline is be done in June. And that's it for now. James, just a comment on yours. You were doing just fine. I mean, I don't think there was an echo. There was a little bit of interruption when you leaned to the side. I don't know if you're using Wi-Fi or just your cell network, but that seemed just kind of a loss of signal. And Bob, on your case, I think it was also just an intermittent. I don't think it was aligned with any of the timeouts. It was just an intermittent, probably not enough network bandwidth on upload. You're probably using the 2.5 kilobits on OBS or some higher bandwidth that from time to time might struggle, since you're doing probably watching the stream at the same time. So that was just that. So that's it for now. Sending it back to Dave, Net Control from 87NP in Clyde Hill.
NP, thanks for that. This is Dave, KD7ZYM in Lake City. And have to get another ID here. Again, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, again, KD7ZYM. Well, here in Lake City, I've got 58 degrees and cloudy outside. So anyway, that's the weather forecast here. And boy, the last couple of days have been sort of dreary here in the Seattle area after getting the wonderful sunshine we had prior to the last 2 days. So anyway, I got out, did a Costco run today, and picked up their prepared enchiladas. And oh man, I tell you, that was tasty. I am a thumbs up on enchiladas if you're going to Costco to get the ones that you just put in your oven and bake for an hour. And they were very, very tasty. The other thing I was looking for was I was out of relish. Finally, I got to the grocery store and got some relish. I was surprised. Costco didn't carry relish, so I ended up stopping by Safeway and picking that up and got that taken care of. And been working on getting more stuff out of the basement. Another couple of Apple boxes of clothing I got off to donate. So anyway, a little more progress there. So with that, I'm going to send it back up to Bob, K9PQ.
Okay, there we go. I see my call sign and my face popped on, and it'll be back. There we are. I'm going to actually take off. No, I won't take off the headphones. I can mute it. You can mute the output. So Richard, job. Wow. You know, I have to say I'm envious that you had a job you actually want to go back and do. I have had jobs that I've enjoyed, and I've had jobs that maybe I didn't enjoy all that much, but were fulfilling. The last job wasn't much of either. There was far too much. Sort of politics. It wasn't politics in the way you usually think of it. It was more. I used to say the inmates were in charge of the asylum. You just never knew, they went super lean on management, and so they just pretty much wanted the employees to take care of things without having to go to management. So it was weird, and I don't miss that at all. Jim, yeah, thanks for the MCOM allowances. I don't think that's going to be needed. I mean, generally they've been very positive, and like I say, they put me in touch with this other guy who also wants to put up an antenna. And my plan for my outdoor antenna, I still am planning to have the loop in the attic, at least one big loop, and maybe eventually a mag loop. But my outdoor antenna, right for the moment, I'm only planning to put up a VHF UHF vertical, about 3 feet high, and it's a tri-bander, 2 meter, 70 centimeter, and 2 meter, 70 centimeter, and 23 centimeter. Because I was using it at one time when I was going mobile. Some of you will remember I used to go mobile, and I would do video and 2 meters all through the single antenna with a triplexer. That was pretty fun. I don't envision any difficulties at all getting that antenna up. But I'm going to talk to this ham. Like, he's been wanting. We can maybe have some kind of HF antenna. That would be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool. So I don't know. We'll see. 4.6 kbps output. It's so maybe before. I'm having it pretty regular. It's similar. It works generally with the TV, but there are certain edge cases that just don't work very well at all. For example, my text app on my Android phone, I use Google Messages. I can have that sync with an app on my PC, and it doesn't always work. It doesn't sync very well at all, which I think is the fault of this T-Mobile home internet. Really cool video of your CNC machine, Carlos, and it'll be fun to see the solar cooker antenna come together. Dave Good on the Costco run. I think you didn't see the relish because they only come in 1-gallon jars. I think that's probably you weren't looking in the right place. So okay, I'll send it on back. This is K9PQ. Back to net control.
K9PQ, thanks with that. And time for another ID. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. Well, let's go to 2 meters to Richard, K7ITX.
Okay, well, thanks a lot, Dave. Yeah, we're 2 meters tonight. I'm at the Northwest Kidney Center tonight, doing my normal blood cleaning project. But I'm looking forward to having video and audio together on Saturday, like I did last weekend. As long as I don't have too much of a headache or turmoil from this Friday night from getting dialyzed again. So yeah, it'll be very interesting to try to throw in a part-time job. Basically it's like making parts like Carlos showed us, and using the 3-inch CNC machine. My job would be to engineer what we need for commercial installations, generally metal and glass panels, if you will, on mid-rise and single floor applications, and then get some coins, that is, in return for doing that kind of thing. Yeah, we'll see. I thought I'd throw my hat out in the ring and see what kind of response I would get. At least it'd be kind of fun to do something like that in my spare time. Oh, and Bob, your signal was really good to start with, and then for about 45 seconds, 2/3 of the way through your report, then there's a real chopped up, come and go kind of part of your audio that made it impossible to understand what you're saying. But then the last 40 seconds got real clear. So I don't know, something weird's going on. Other than that, your video and audio is perfect. So yeah, I think you got it figured out. I think maybe it might have been the internet giving us a problem. Hard to say. So with that, K7ITX, back to net control.
K7ITX, thanks with that. Let's pick up Jim in Covington, N7QO.
N7QO, thank you, Dave. Well, Jim, thanks for mentioning that MarsNet. I did not see that. I didn't look through my QST magazine all that closely for nets, but thanks for the reminder on that. And voice over internet using old phone number. Thanks for mentioning that. I think a lot of people will find that useful. Not necessarily everyone. I know that a lot of people in my neighborhood have problems with their cell phones not working well. A couple of our neighbors still go out into the street to use their cell phones rather than doing it from inside the house. So that's bound to help some people out. Carlos, excellent audio on both 2 meters and on the television repeater tonight. Your cable, sorry about that. I just assumed that you'd have another cable lying around in the shack somewhere. I didn't mean for you to buy another one. I could have sent you one if I'd known. Sorry, but motherboard. Oh my goodness, what a pain. Sorry about that. And CNC machine working on the brackets. That looks good. I have a neighbor who has a machine as well in his garage. He only uses it on wood. I don't know for sure if his can even be used on metal. I should ask him sometime, because he makes a lot of intricate wooden items that he mostly gives away to friends. He seems to enjoy doing that, and he's been working with wood for his whole life. Bob, yeah, kind of what Dick said. It seemed I had no trouble hearing you on the television repeater, but occasionally it sounded like the audio on 2 meters was very low, almost like maybe the microphone was just a little bit too far from your mouth. But otherwise, it's fine. As for work, yeah, they say I'm over the hill. Dick, they don't want me to work anymore. I'm over the hill. Oh well. And yeah, Bob, the triplexer, one antenna. When mobile, we all saw you doing that. Good job on that. That was great. I would guess you could still do that. Well, now that we're no longer on the analog television, I'm not sure if that would work. Well, but now there's the cell phones. So anyway, yeah, that was pretty cool. And good luck with whatever you're going to do with outside antennas. Back to you, Dave, N7QO.
N7QO, thanks with that. Let's pick up James in Northeast Bellevue, WU7N.
Oh, okay, I'm going to try and sync the iPhone XR application again.
WU7N, Whiskey Uniform.
Okay, I'm getting an error here, disconnected from server, retry, and then I push repeatedly, and it doesn't seem to want to function. I'm going to try one more time here. Okay, I'm curious enough about this to know if it has to do with the Wi-Fi that this phone number is connecting to. So I'm going to go ahead and try and switch over Wi-Fi networks and try this again.
If it comes through, Whiskey Uniform 7. Okay, I think I am on, and let me listen. If I'm getting good clean audio on the streaming site, it seems like I'm getting good clean audio. Everything else, all the other microphones, I think are definitely turned off. Let me make sure of that. This one is streaming only. It's not putting out any sound. And there is no microphone since I'm just listening. So testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so there still is a little bit of an audio echo. I can't quite trace down what's causing that. When I'm using the iPhone application on an iPhone XR. Anyway, appreciate everyone's patience with me trying to troubleshoot that. Let's see. The ooma.com, ooma.com. I'm gonna have to learn more about what they do because $80 for a little hub, but what that hub does, that's a little steep in my opinion, but it's a one-time charge, and it fools all your old analog phones. I would consider it really good if I could put my rotary phone that I still have on there and get it to work on that. That would be pretty cool. But anyway, right now I guess I'm happy calling my monthly credit to CenturyLink, which is owned by Lumen, and they seem to they no longer have tickets on my broken phone line. Now I have a case number because the ticket just caused a very angry line technician to come out to my house and try and tell me that all the problems were in my head or in my house or both. So that didn't work out very well. Let's see what else is going on. Yes, anybody who's interested in more information on the Mars to Amateur Radio Crossband test on May 9th, let me know. I've got all kinds of information on that. I can send that out to you. Let's see. I think I mentioned, maybe I did in the past, I listened to a really good lecture from someone who had done hurricane recovery in the Caribbean, and the Starlink, it was just the absolute machine of the hour. The satellite constellation and the ground stations, they were putting up Starlink ground stations and then hanging banners with the password is, and then everybody was communicating both on the island that is in the country and also all over the world. With text messaging, and apparently weren't running into bandwidth problems, which kind of surprises me. But maybe people are just being polite, or maybe they told them don't do video and don't do video conferencing. But that's the expectation. I do not tell my neighbors I can get the message out for you in the event of disaster, because first of all, I think I'm going to be too busy, and secondly, to say write this down on a piece of paper and I'll send it out when I can, that would be so alien to them. I don't think anyone could do that anymore. But if you hung a banner outside your house saying, here's the password for a Wi-Fi network, please don't use video, and you can get a message anywhere in the world via courtesy Elon Musk's Starlink network, that would be amazing. You would be the hero of the hour on that. I'll have to look into how much a Starlink downlink station is these days. Someone told me a few months ago you could get a Starlink and then pay some sort of monthly keep alive fee and do some testing each month to make sure it all still works. But until you really started to heavily use it, you didn't get a heavy bill. Anybody knows more about that in real time, real world application, let me know. I haven't done any research on that. I've had too many things going here in the past 2 months. So with that, I'm going to turn it back to Dave, our net control for the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, and I'd like an audio report on how this finally settled out when I switched over to a different network. This is James W. U7N. Back to you, Dave.
WU7N, thanks with that. And your video and audio is sounding fine on this last go-around, no problems there. Crisp audio and very sharp, defined video. So let's move on to Carlos, 87NP.
Okay, 87NP. Audio seems to be at reasonable level, and just kind of going through the nodes. So Bob, on the tri-band, I have one of those also. They're pretty good. I've been getting good coverage. So once you have that up and running, we should try to figure out what's the sausage tunnel that we can have between these two locations. and I'm able to transmit on the video on 23 centimeters. So we can also try a point-to-point connection on that one. And yeah, I think the intermittent connection that you were having was probably bandwidth. I know that you dropped Discord probably to have more bandwidth there, but it worked just fine. Jim, no, I did have multiple cables, so that cable I ended up getting because it's a proper camera cable that is coiled, and the ones that I have on the tripod don't have the angle one, and I think this is a problem that was caused on the motherboard, because the other cable that I have there sticks out a little bit, and probably I've bumped it, and that's what damaged the motherboard there, but seems to be working well. Regarding the CNC doing wood, yeah, I mean, this does wood. I'm just kind of giving you another picture of how the parts looked in the end after they were all milled. As you can see, all the aluminum chips around that, then I have to vacuum them. So I have a small air compressor that is pointing at the drill bit while it's milling, and so the part itself does not accumulate kind of all those little chips, but then they stay all over. It does wood. I never tried it. Well, I tried just a sample, but I'm more into the metal parts, and it has also a 3D mode, which is something that rotates on the bed, and so you're able to do like a face or any object, and it's kind of in full 3D, so it moves X, Y, Z, and then it can also rotate a part, so it's kind of interesting. And these parts, these brackets that I've produced, again, this was with the help of Claude Code in terms of designing the brackets that I wanted with the dimensions, and I'm sure Lee would love this because it let me just switch the screen. It generates what's called G code, because every line starts with a G, and then it allows to basically, it tells the kind of the X, Y, and Z where to move. And so because it's subtractive manufacturing, it starts from the top, it keeps going down. This is for one of the spacers that I will have to do afterwards. And so it starts going down, and then I have two holes that I will drill. Also the same approach, and then the part is completed. So this is a simulation. Of course, the machine takes longer to do all of that. It's quite fun to watch. What's not as fun is to do all the cleanup afterwards, but that's pretty good. I'm now looking at the notes and thinking about the enchiladas, and now I must have to go and think about getting some more food. These Costco runs from Dave always get us all thinking about food. Very good. Sending it back to Dave from 87NP here in Clyde Hill.
NP, thanks for that. And time for another ID. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net on the 08 machine. Well, it's been a nice net this evening. Everything seems to be functioning properly. And let's see, Bob had just texted he'd moved over to Windows, and so we'll have to see what happens when he comes up on that. And hopefully it won't have any dropouts, but it could be that his internet connection is what's causing his problem. But anyway, and Carlos, boy, very nice machining. Boy, what a device you have, being able to program into that and make some beautiful connectors, you might say, or spacers to hold the ring around your antenna. So anyway, thanks for showing that to us. And this is Dave, KD7ZYM in Lake City, and so I'm going to move it back up to Bob, K9PQ.
Okay, I never know when. There we go. There's a call sign, so I assume you're hearing me, and the video's delayed. I'm going to. Oh, that's right. I don't have to mute it. I'm in the Windows app, and well done, Carlos, making it so that it mutes the audio while I'm transmitting. Let's see. I don't have a lot of new notes. Oh, Uma. James, I did that stuff years ago when I first moved to my other condo in Bothell. So, gosh, 13 years ago. And I had Google Voice, and that was the trick. You use Google Voice with these things, and since Google Voice, and I'm sure there are a lot more options now. At that time, that was the one really recommended way to do it. You could use a monthly service that they provided that I think cost money, but where you could just buy the unit and use Google Voice with it. Now, I think I did buy an UMA unit, but I ended up going with Obi instead, and I have no idea if they're still in business. It's OBI. And honestly, I have no idea how much it's being used these days. But back then, I was not ready to go 100% cell phone yet. So I had a regular home phone, analog home phone, just the usual bell telephone kind. They were tone, though. I'm not sure your rotary will work. I think they required the tones for dialing. But with Google Voice, it was really very slick. You got as you would expect from Google, you could go on to a website and get all kinds of information about the calls and all that kind of stuff. And they had good spam protection, which back then was a pretty new thing, especially for home phones. Yeah, interesting that you're looking into that now. I think only because I stopped using it, I figured, oh, they probably have gone away by now, but apparently that's not true. The Starlink, we both looked into Starlink for a while there. I know I did, especially when I was on the road and I met some people that were using it. I never heard about the Keep Alive option, or it's possible I just wasn't looking for that. I don't remember seeing it on their website. What they did have was, a minimum that was, still pretty expensive. I want to say $50 a month, just to get, some small number of gigabytes, and then you paid for per gigabyte above that. But unlike cell phone companies, they didn't gouge you for overages. It was the exact same rate for the base amount and any data you use beyond the base amount. So, it's still something I'm going to be thinking about doing. I really don't want to do it here, and I don't think I will. And they also have two different plans. I couldn't tell you why exactly, but they have two different plans, one for home and one for mobile. It's a little bit different than when you're mobile. You've got to use GPS to figure out where you are and figure out so it can figure out what satellites to go try to connect to. Also with camping, you want to make sure you've got a pretty clear space. It makes a big difference. If you're totally in the trees, you're not going to get a signal. So you want some clear sky overhead. But they have all kinds of smart apps to tell you exactly where you're located, where your best signal is going to come from, where you should have open sky. And the general comment I got from more than one person was, it works really very well, even if you don't have all of that open sky you want. You just need to have some open sky. No dropouts so far, so I'm liking this. The app is working well. You're talking about the surgery, and it reminded me of something I just read today. It was a woman had posted it, and she said that after her surgery, the surgeon went out to talk to her mother and brother, and they said, yeah, she's going to have to be completely laid up for 2 weeks. And the brother said, 2 weeks? That long? And the surgeon said, well, look at it this way. She was just in a knife fight, and she lost to me. But that's because she was asleep at the time. So there you go. Another way of looking at surgery I never thought of before. Okay, back to net control. This is K9PQ.
K9PQ, thanks with that. Let's go to Richard, K7ITX.
Okay. Well, boy, yeah, you caught me just in time before I fell asleep. Thank you, Dave. And Bob, yeah, real good audio, real good picture. And James, yeah, no, it's like things are working really good tonight. I may get brave again and try to use my XS iPhone with the application. But it's just, everything's working so good when I just do 2 meters here at the Kidney Center. So, gee whiz, oh my God, look at it, it's almost 9 o'clock. So, anyway, I guess I'll say 73 right now, and had a really nice time talking to everybody, and looking forward to Saturday night. K7ITX, back to net control.
K7ITX, we got your 7-3. Thanks for joining the net this evening. Let's pick up Jim, N7QO in Covington.
N7QO. Thank you, Dave. Well, Jim, you were talking about communications with Starlink. Elon is developing a cell phone replacement. It's a Starlink phone. It is not yet on the market. He's calling it the Tesla Pi. That's Papa India, the Tesla Pi phone, and it communicates via Starlink or Wi-Fi. Going along with what Bob said, they say that you need an unobstructed view of the sky. However, the phone does, much like a GPS, it looks at the constellation. It tracks multiple satellites. So I don't know. Maybe, like, I would bet that if I were at home in my living room here, I could would probably work just fine. But if you were in a basement or maybe even just a brick house, you'd better have a Wi-Fi connection because the satellites might not work. But one big advantage is this would work in the middle of nowhere where there are no cell towers in existence. I don't know. I do have a friend who has a Starlink receiver mounted on his RV, and so he'll drive all around the country, and it works very well for him. And then when they get home, he just plugs the unit on his RV into the house and uses that while he's at home. So sounds kind of interesting. If anyone were interested in that, would be worth looking into. Hopefully it will be on the market before long. Let's see, what else do I have? Oh, Bob, did you say, how long ago did you say you moved to Bothell? I remember when you moved. Did you say that was 13 years ago? Holy cow. I don't know, I could believe like 5 years, but I'll tell you, as you get older, it seems like the time just goes by much faster. I don't think that's a good thing. But anyway, wow. Back to you, Dave, and 7QO.
And 7QO, thanks with that. And the bewitching hour has arrived. It's 9 o'clock. I'll throw it out. Is there anything from anyone before we close up the net? Hearing none, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM, closing the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net at 9:02. Good evening all. This is Dave, KD7ZYM.